Good evening, everyone.
Kavod Harav, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank you. Okay. So we're going to go to the next one. Which is Het, 8. So it says here, Usfarat halachot gedolot. So it says, the opinion of the halachot gedolot, shedacha Rabbeinu, that the tour deflected. Is Kiruat Tosfot. Tosfot does mention it in Chulin Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, Ve'arosh Bepek Kol Basar, also the Rosh. Katvu Sheta'amo. So they wrote that his reasoning is that since we asked a question in the second parak of Zvachim, Kafal for the Mudalif, so the question was over there, what is the rule? Are you allowed to wash your hands or to sanctify your hands in a basin? So what are we talking about? We're talking about the Kohanim in the temple. Are they allowed to do it like that? Mimenu Amar Rachamana. So the verse says from it, below betocho, and not inside of it. So therefore, right, we see from there they want to say that dipping your hands is no good. You have to actually wash your hands, meaning that you have to pour the water over them. משמע בקידוש ידיים ורגליים מבעיה משום תכתיב ממנו, אבל בטינat ידיים אפילו בתוכו מותר. What it says, right, since it's asking about only the issue of sanctifying the hands for the Kohanim, that tells you that when it comes to just washing your hands in general, so there we do allow. We're not so strict with that. Okay. So it goes on. So that would mean that even to dip your hands would be okay, according to that opinion. Okay. So then it goes on. The Gamma Rashba Zikir Sham. Rashba also mentions just that Alchot Gedolot, the opinion of Alchot Gedolot. Katav ve'im tomar. He says that if you're going to tell me, Ken, if you're going to tell me like that, Tikshelach, you're going to ask, you have to ask a question. Hade arita de delaye, Zaminan en matbilin baen. That which is said in the Talmud, which we learned yesterday, that when it comes to those ducts, right, you can't immerse your hands in them. You can't dip your hands in there. Why? Because they're like they're drawn water. So the Ramban answers that question. It says here, since it's in the ground, kenat balahu, so it's considered to be like you're actually, it's like immersion. Tefillah b'she'ovin leka. It says you don't have right. The problem is you can't do immersion in drawn water. אבל משך ידה במנה נטילה היא. But he says when you're washing your hands in a vessel, that's called washing. It's not called immersion. So basically, what we're saying is that we have two different types of methods to purify your hands. One is you wash, meaning that you pour water over it, or you immerse it, like dip it into some kind of a vessel, whatever it may be. So we see that there's a machloket about this, whether you can dip your hands or not. So he goes on, says even according to הלכות גדולות, אסור לשכשך ידיו בתוך כלי. You're not allowed to shikshuch, you know what it means? It means like to paddle your hands inside the vessel. Okay. It's as close as I can get with my translation. Which is attached to the ground. So it's drawn water. So it's the same thing as the duck that we spoke about yesterday. The Torah Tabayit says in Torah Tabayit, which is the Rashba, Stam divrei halachot gadolot lepasak halacha. So right, he wrote over there that we do paskin like the halachot gadolot. So therefore, we see right that there are paskin who are lenient and allow you to dip your hands for the sake of purifying them. Okay, interesting. So it goes on. Tosfot and the Rosh katvu al divrei halachot gadolot. They wrote regarding halachot gadolot the kasher. Right, they have a question on this. That which we said here, that we don't wash hands with that, because they don't come from the strength of a man. Umiu says, however, but he says we also have to say that we require that it should be washed from a vessel. So whether he's washing his hands inside the vessel, or let's say he's pouring it from the vessel, so it says either way, you're using a vessel to wash your hands. That's the way he says it. Okay, it's a little bit crafty there, what he's saying there, whatever. But anyway, it's not really the same thing 100%. But it says here, the thing is that your hands are outside of the vessel. So he already paskin, right, that the strength of the kli, of the vessel, when the water is pouring on him, right, so he's telling you that it already stopped. The strength of the vessel already ceased when it's coming on his hands. So therefore he says, so there you don't really have here this concept of, washing from a vessel. Because he says, a pipe or a duct, right, is not a vessel. Why is that, by the way?
What about a puddle of water?
Why do we say it's not a vessel?
It doesn't have a cap.
You know what the reason is? Because I'm sorry.
Could it be that it doesn't hold arivit, at least?
No, it definitely does. These are larger, but you know what? You know why they're not called vessel? Because they're attached to the ground.
Thank you, Kavata.
So that's not a vessel; it's a structure. It's like a bathtub. Like it's attached to the ground. So a bathtub is not a vessel. It's a part of the It's a part of the scaffolding in the house. Whatever. It's not really a vessel. Okay. Let's go on. We already mentioned this before, by the way. If you recall, we said, things which are attached to the ground are not called a vessel. Okay, anyway, getting back to what we said. Enami Mishum deplicate ba Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Tana Kama says also alternatively I can tell you that they argue about this Rabbi Yossi and the first right opinion. The first parak of Yadayim. Rabbi Yosef by Koach Gavra. So Rabbi Yosef requires to have strength from a man, coming from a man. I skipped the line. I'm going to read this one more time. I skipped something. We're on the top line here. So it says, right, and now what you said, right, that they don't come from the strength of a man. It's not really talking about the strength of a man. That means it's not coming from a vessel. And alternatively, I can tell you that it's because Rabbi Yosef and the Tanakama, which is the first opinion, right? Do you guys know what Tanakama means? Because we say this all the time.
The Tanaim,
right?
Or other authorities could be.
Right. So Tana means Tana, right? But what is Kama? Kama means the first, right? So in other words, it's telling you what's the first Tana. It's the first opinion there, This is Aramaic, Tana. The proper way to say it is Tana Kama, right? I just told you the American way of saying it, but that's not really the good way. It's not Tanakama, it's Tadakama. Right? That's the cool way to do it. If you want to be cool, say it like that. Okay, whatever, right? So so we have always, Tanakama means the first Tana, meaning the first opinion in the Mishnah. Or the Braita, whatever it is, right?
But I thought the Beraita was the story or the teaching. So is that sense?
Oh, okay. All right, so let's just get it straight, okay? Let's get these words, we have to define our terms, right, as they say. So let's define the terms. Right, so what does the word Mishnah mean? Mishnah means, to study, or repetition, something like that, right? You're studying something, right? So that's the Mishnah. It was written by Rabbi Danasi, right? The Mishnah. And then the Braita was written by Rabbi Chia, right? And others also, right? What does the word Baraita mean in Aramaic?
Teaching is what I thought it was.
No, Baraita means outside.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Why is it called Baraita? Because it wasn't included in the Mishnah. So it's an outside teaching.
And the Tosefta is the collection of teachings outside the
Tosefta. What does Tosefta mean?
No.
Tosefta means additional.
Additional. Oh, okay. Thank you.
But those are the three things, that we have. There's also more stuff, but I'm just giving you the basics now. I'm not going to get into everything. Okay. So anyway, right, as we said,
What's the name of the rabbi who wrote the Baraita again? I'm sorry.
Rabbi Chia.
Thank you. Chia.
Yeah, he was a friend of Rabbi Danasi. They were buddies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So as we said, right, so now according to what I taught you guys, right? He says Tanakama, right? Tanakama, and then he says Beperekama, third line, right? What does Perekama mean? You should know now since I told you already what it means. What does Perekama mean? So as we said, right, Kama means first. You know, so what does parak mean? Chapter. The first chapter. Okay. So yeah, we're coming along little by little, slowly but surely. So it's in the first parak of Yadayim, right? Which is one of the Masechtot, you know, in the Talmud. Yadayim, right? Rabbi Yosef Ba'e Koach Gabra. So Rabbi Yosef requires to have the strength of a man, right? Meaning that has to come from poured out by a person. The Tanakama lo chayesh lekoach gabra, but the Tanakama doesn't care about that. He's not particular. So it's a machloket between Rabbi Yosef and the Tanakama. Okay. By the way, you guys, what's the proper way to say this name? Is it Rabbi Yossi or is it Yosef? Which one is it? Okay. So the truth is, you know, the Ashkenazim, they say Yossi, you know, but that's not really the proper way to pronounce it. The proper way to pronounce it is really Yosef. Why is that? Because under the Samech, there's a tzere, you know, 2 dots, right? So that we pronounce in Hebrew, according to Hebrew grammar, it's not Yossi, it's Yosef. You got to know these things, you guys, yeah.
Like the Spanish name Jose?
Yes. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. That's it.
Okay.
You should know, by the way, but that a lot of Spanish words come from Hebrew and Aramaic.
That's correct.
It's very common.
Yes.
Also French, by the way. A lot of stuff. Okay. So anyway, right, Machloket. Lo chayish lechoch gabra. V'shmati Rabbi Yosef. So he says, we pass like Rabbi Yosef. V'halachot gedolot k'Tanakama. But halachot gedolot paskins like Tanakama, the first opinion, right? As we said. So he says, right, you should be stringent here, so he says. Who was this again? This was Tosfot. Rosh. Okay. All right. So anyway, let's go on. because it says in the Talmud, it implies, you know, the halacha is like Rabbi Yosef. V'gam agot maimoniot, right? Also, agot maimoniot, right, which is a commentary on the Rambam. It says over there that katvu b'shem samag. It says the name in the samag, right? Okay, now I'm getting into technical stuff here. You know, what is samag? Well, you know, you guys know what that means? It's a book, you know, called the samag. It's like an abbreviation. You know what it stands for? Sefer Mitzvot Gadol. It's the big book of mitzvot. Samag. Okay, well, I'm getting you guys on into all the technical stuff now. So it says there that we don't pass like halachot gadolot. By the way, who's halachot gadolot? Come on, we gotta, you know, I gotta get you guys into this stuff. Who's that? Right? This is one of the Geonim, you know, who was before the Rishonim, you know, the Geonim. What's his name? His name is Rabbi Yudai Gaon. Halachot Gedolot. Okay, good. What does the word Gaon mean, by the way, in the Hebrew?
Giant, no?
I'm sorry?
Giant.
Gaon means genius.
Genius, sorry. No, giant.
Okay. Giant means in Hebrew anak. That's something else. And a different word. Okay, so that's the story, right? So they're called Geonim because they were geniuses, you know, they had big heads, you know, these people. That's why they're called Geonim. Okay. By the way, I was told, by one of my rabbis, that in order to be considered one of the Geonim, right, you had to know the Talmud by heart, But not only that, they used to give a test, which is incredible. I mean, I can't even fathom this, They say that they used to test them. They would take like a Talmud, like a Gemara, and they would put a needle through, the Gemara, So they had to know, these rabbis, Geonim, which letter these needles go through, like on each page. This is crazy. I can't even imagine that. Don't ask. I don't know what to tell you. I can barely remember the name of the book, Forget about that. Okay. Anyway, right, the Geonim, so you understand, that's why we don't argue today, with these older authorities, because we're not worth the the dirt which is under their their toenails. What I mean? These people are on a much higher level than we are. We can't even imagine what they were. Okay, so anyway, right, that's the way it goes. So let's go on. The Sefer Truma, also Sefer Truma says the same thing. So now it brings Bedek Habayit, right? Okay. So you guys know what's Bedek Habayit? We always see this in the Bet Yosef, right? Anybody know what this is? I'm getting you guys into all the technical stuff now. I guess I'm in a technical mood tonight. I don't know. It must be a mood, I'm some kind of mood. I don't know.
Isn't that the glosses of the commentary that made on Bet Yosef or something like that? So the
Bedek Habayit, yeah, you're close. The Bedek Habayit is basically, right, Maran Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, he wrote the Bedek Habayit, so he has several works that he did, several books that he wrote. So the Kesef Mishnah he wrote on the Rambam, right? It's a commentary on the Rambam. Then Bet Yosef is a commentary on the Tur, more or less, right? It's more than that, but that's basically what it is. Then he has the right Bedek Habayit. Now, what is Bedek Habayit? He also has a Shulchan Aruch, right? You know that, right? Nobody has to tell you that one, right? By the way, all the other Shulchan Aruchs, you see, right? Which is not from Rabbi Yosef Karo. It's fake news. It's all fake. There's no other Shulchan Aruch. So if you see some other book which is called Shulchan Aruch, you should know that they're violating copyrights. They shouldn't call any other book that name.
I should send you a picture of the one that I got. It says Sephardic, but I'll send you a picture.
Right. I know. You're talking about Rabbi Amar.
Yes.
Yeah. That's also another one. Another fake news. But the truth is, I'm not telling you these are bad books. Don't get me wrong. They're good books. Nothing wrong with them. They're all good. But the real Shulchan Aruch is this one. You know what I mean?
Chabadniks do the Shulchan Aruch Harav.
Right, that's another one. Right, exactly. Yeah. By the way, that's also it's a very good book. That one, good book, top notch. You know what I mean? But there's only one Shulchan Aruch. The real Shulchan. Will the real Shulchan Aruch please stand up? Okay, whatever. You get the point.
But it's in advanced Hebrew, so we need to be versed in.
Right. Okay. So there's also, by the way, another book which is called Aruch HaShulchan, the opposite, Aruch HaShulchan, right? Which is a great book, also incredible book, but it's not the Shulchan Aruch, not the same thing. Okay. So anyway, right? We're going on here. So the Bedek Habayit, as we said. So what is Bedek Habayit? He wrote these, like glosses on the Bet Yosef Maran. After he already finished the Shulchan Aruch, it was like the last work that he did. So it's like the last word in halakha, basically, right? Like the final word, the final decision. That's what Bedek Habayit is, So what does that mean? It's very authoritative, in halakha. Whatever it says, that's how we go. Right? That's the way it is. Last word. So it says here, right? Brings a Rambam. Rambam says. Rambam also holds this way. Right? Laws of mikvot. Hakan Katav Amari ibn Habib. Right? It says Amari Habib Ben Chabib, right? Zal, Hare Arosh Ishtadel Letet Saad Divrei Halachot Gedolot. This is interesting. He says, right, that the Rosh tried to assist the opinion of Halachot Gedolot. He tried to help him. But he says in the end, he concluded, the Rosh, that you have to be stringent, you know? Bottom line. So what does that mean? Like the other side, right? Be stringent. Okay, very good. So it goes on. So that's the reason why it says the author wrote not like halachot gedolot. Matzati katuv b'shem Rashba. So I found written in the name of the Rashba, bitel gam ken zo haraya kadesh. He also disqualified this source in order to uphold the words of halachot gedolot. So the Rashba holds like halachot gedolot. We already said that before. V'gam ken katuv b'shem gaon. They also say the name of the gaon. So he says we can rely on that. He says, interesting, right? Wow. But he says only in a pressing case. That's what he says. We rely on it in a pressing case. So what does that mean? What are we talking about here, right? You know, we got so many details already, technical details. We already forgot like what we're talking about, right? So just to remind you what we're talking about here, there's a machloket whether you can dip your hands, you know, into a vessel and purify your hands by dipping and not pouring. So it says a bit Yosef over here that in a pressing situation where you have no other choice, no other option, so you can rely on the lenient opinion of the halachot gedolot, meaning what? That you can dip your hands, you know, if you need to. Or b'diavad, right? Or b'diavad, right after the fact. So it says, like somebody who washed his hands, right, into a vessel. So he says it's proper that he should do it again, you know, to be stringent. Why? Because that's not the real way, you know. That's like, you know, it's like it's an excuse for washing hands. You know? It's not the real thing. So therefore, do it again. He says, right? Now do it from a vessel, right? But he says, don't bless this time. Why? Because according to these rabbis, you already fulfilled your obligation. So there's no reason to bless anymore. There's a doubt, you know. So we don't bless when there's a doubt. Okay, very good. That's the end of the Bet Yosef. Very good. So let's go to the Shulchan Aruch. Het. Here it is. Okay, so says Shulchan Aruch, right? What about if he dipped his hands into a vessel? And he paddled his hands, you know? Paddled his hands around. Does that work? So he says, if the vessel is attached to the ground, as we said, right? It doesn't work. As we said, right? That's not called a vessel when it's attached to the ground. That's why it doesn't work. But if it's not attached to the ground, this vessel, right? Some say it works, right? Who is that? Halachot gedolot, right? And all his buddies, right? the Rashba, all his buddies there that we mentioned. According to them, it goes, it works, right? And some say it doesn't work, right? So who was that? We said the Rambam, right? And his colleagues, right? All those people there. The Rosh also. So it says in a pressing situation, you can rely on a lenient opinion. That's the way it goes. But he says, if afterwards, you got a chance to do it the right way, right? Then what? You should wash without a blessing. Because you already blessed on the first washing, right? So you can't do it twice. You can't bless twice, unless it was a mistake. So here it's not really a mistake, it's a machloket, so therefore we have a doubt. When in doubt, throw it out. Don't bless. That's the story. Okay, we're going to text. Let's go to Bet Yosef. Sure. Right, so we got to see the tour inside. Yeah. So it says over here in tour. Yeah. Right, here it is. Sorry. So it says, Chavit sheyesh ba mayim. Let's say you have a barrel, right, full of water. Menicha al berkav, right? So what you do is you can place the barrel on your lap. So you like tilt it and wash your hands like that. You can do that. It's considered to be like the strength of a man, you know? Why is that? Because even though you're not really picking it up, you know, and pouring water, but you are tilting it, you know? So tilting is also good. That's why it works. Okay. So then it goes on. Let's say it was like leaning on the ground, on the side, leaning on the side, and the water is pouring out from there. Or the water is just standing, coming out of the hole, which is there's a hole in there. And he put his hands there. That's not called washing. Okay, let's see the Bet Yosef on that. So says Bet Yosef, what is the source for this? Perek Kama the Yadayim, right? First perek of Yadayim in the tractate Yadayim. Tanan, we learned the Mishnah there. Maniach Chabit ben Berachav. You can place the barrel right on your lap, right, or you know, between your legs, whatever. Notel umate, and wash your hands. You can do that. You can wash your hands like that. Umate chavit al tzida. Notel akof. Right. You can also. What you do is you tilt the barrel to the side. And you wash your hands like that. So then it goes into a different case, which is the akof notel yadayim. Also, he says, right, what about if you have a monkey, right? We already discussed this a little bit. Can the monkey pour the hands on you to wash your hands, right? So according to the first opinion, yes. But Rabbi Yosef says, no good. He disqualifies both of them. Rabbeinu Shimshon explains, you know, what we just said, right? You tilt it to the side, the barrel, you know, till and wash your hands. It doesn't resemble what Rapapa said in Chulin. We don't wash from the duct, as we said, like yesterday, right? So it's because over there, the problem is we don't have the strength of a man, right? It's, you know, it's pouring out from the duct. But here, since the man is tilting the barrel himself, even if he went and sat afterwards, and the barrel is like pouring more and more water all the time. He left it like tilted, you know, so it's just pouring out. So what happens over there? So that's considered to be the strength of a man, even though he tilted it only in the beginning, you know, and then it just went by itself. And alternatively, high tana de mechasher bekov. So it says that opinion that says that the monkey is okay. Lo chayesh gabra. He's not really concerned about the strength of a man. The sugya de hatam Rabbi Yosef. So he says this is going according to the opinion of Rabbi Yosef. Sheposel b'sheni elu, that he disqualifies these two. When you tilt, right, the barrel, and also the monkey case. Both of them, the reason is because you need the strength of a man. But you're allowed to place, right, the barrel on your lap, and then, right, you're tilting it, and right, that's like it's the strength of a man. That's considered to be the strength of a man. Okay, good. Adkan, that's the end of it. Okay, so this was the language of the Mishnah, whatever. Yeah, Mishnah and Gemara. Okay, what else we got here? Let's go on. What כתבתי בסמוך? So it says, I already wrote close by. שדעת התוספות והראש לפסוק כרבי יוסף. תוספות and ראש פסק like רבי יוסף. לכן דת הרעב"ד, also the רעב"ד. ורבנו יונה also. לכן דתת וסמ"ק, also סמ"ק. וסמ"ק also, סמ"ק. והתרומה, and the תרומה also. אבל הרמב"ם, the רמב"ם, פוסק כתנא קמא. He passes like the first opinion. כתב רבנו יונה, says רבנו יונה, בפרק אלו דברים, it says over there, שכן נראה שהוא דת רב יהודה גאון. Rabbi Yudai also passes like that, right? Which is halachot gedolot. V'chen dat Rashba, also the Rashba. The pek kol basar. We already read this. We saw these already. The Torah Tabait, also Torah Tabait. V'fa pisha Rambam posek Tanna Kama. Even though Rambam passes like the first opinion, haynu lomar delo bainan koach gabra. That means that we don't need the strength of a man. Our koach noten mihai biabai. But we do need somebody to pour it, right? So in other words, if the monkey does it, it's also good. The monkey is not a man, but he's somebody, something, whatever. He's got some strength, in his arms, right? Whatever. So he goes on. Like it says over there in his words, halacha yudalet, Bedina shoket regarding the issue of the shoket, right, which is some kind of a vessel that he's using to wash from there. He must explain like the first perush of Rabbeinu Shimshon, that when you tilt the barrel, it's considered like there's a strength of a man. So what's halacha? Bottom line, right? Bet Yosef. Since washing your hands is from the rabbis, we pass like the Rambam, Rashba, Rabbi Yudah, the Pasuk Kitana Kama. They pass like the Tanna Kama, first opinion. So there you go, right? So therefore, he says we go lenient here. So again, right, just to recap, right? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the case where you have a barrel, right? And if you can tilt the barrel, is that considered to be like, you're washing your hands with the strength of a man? And also the case of the monkey. Okay. So if you get a chimpanzee, it looks like he can wash your hands. The chimpanzee, whatever. Seems like it, whatever. We'll see. We'll see in the Shulchan Aruch. Okay. There's another piece here. So it says, מה שכתב רבנו, אבל אם היה ברז בנקב והסירו וקיבל המים. So yeah, I guess we'll do this part next time. B'ezrat Hashem. Thanks for coming. Be blessed with wealth and health and happiness. Laila Tov, Chazak Baruch. We'll see you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. God bless all of you.
Shabbat.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Shabbat. Yeah. Oh, Shabbat. I forgot about that. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Sunday then.
See you on Sunday. Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes, we'll see you Sunday. And so B'ezrat Hashem. Have a great Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat.
Thank you so much.
God bless.